Business Part 1, Item A, Presentation of the 2016 Chairman's Award.
Folks, I'd just like to take this opportunity as outgoing chairman. I want to spend a few minutes at this. I know this is one of the things we don't do enough celebration in our community about the great things around us. And I want to take the time to do that this morning. And this is a great opportunity because since 1988, the county has allowed the chairman of the County Commission to highlight something in the community that they felt is especially important. And today, I want to take the time to honor Youth Horizons and specifically Ernest Alexander. The award is for Youth Horizons, but I have to talk about Ernest first because Ernest really is what is the passion behind what Youth Horizons is all about. And so with that, I want to just take a moment to read a little something about Ernest. But before I do that, I just want to share how this is going to work. Again, this has happened since 1988, so this is, I think, the 28th year, if I counted that correctly. We've had this award, and we will have a video here in just a minute, and then I'll make a presentation to Ernest for Youth Horizons. And so before I get started, I want to say we do have a number of people from the audience this morning that are with us this morning from Youth Horizons. I'll introduce them in just a few minutes as well, and Ernest, you'll have a chance to speak, and others, if you have anything you want to say or add to what we do this morning. I appreciate your comments. If you want to say something, you'll have a chance to do that as well. Let me just mention about Ernest real quickly. I want to just share some of his history because I think it's really important to know about his background. And so this came off of the Youth Horizons website, so let me just tell what it says. Ernest Alexander was born in Selma, Alabama. He grew up in a racially charged South during the 1950s and 1960s, where he faced discrimination and segregation daily. He and his 6 siblings were raised by his mom, a single parent who worked hard to lovingly provide for her kids. As a boy, Ernest was inspired by a gospel singer named Malia Jackson. He prayed and promised God that if he were given a voice like hers, he would use it for God's glory. From the 5th grade through high school, Ernest studied voice and worked with the Hart College Music Conservatory at the University of Hartford. During high school, Ernest received many awards, including being named the representative from Connecticut for a national competition called the American Youth Performs. As a result, he was able to perform at Carnegie Hall. Ernest came to Kansas to attend college, first at Butler County Community College and later at Friends University. At Friends University, he traveled with the Singing Quakers and toured much of the United States. He graduated with a Bachelor's of Arts in Vocal Performance and has traveled with the Continental Orchestra throughout the United States and the Caribbean. Ernest committed his life to Christ when he was 12 years old, and since that time he has sought to walk in obedience to the Lord in all that he does. He has lived a life committed to evangelism, and the Lord has used Ernest to bring many people to know him as Lord and Savior. As a response to a call of his life, he was ordained as a Baptist minister in 1975, and presently he is actively involved in his local church, River Community Church, SBC. Ernest has devoted his life to serving the Lord and reaching out to troubled and at-risk children. He is currently the president of Youth Horizons, and through the years, Ernest has mentored many young people himself, serving as a father figure in many cases. In addition, he has taken several boys into his personal home when they had nowhere else to turn. He has even adopted 2 of those. Many of the kids with whom he has worked are now adults with families who are following Ernest's example and are reaching out to mentor other young people. In addition to his work at Youth Horizons and with young people in the community, Ernest continues to travel extensively throughout the country and overseas, performing in concerts at churches, schools, and civic functions. And through his music and words, Ernest shares the love of Christ as well as his burden for young people. Let me just say on a personal note, I was able to attend the Christmas concert this last December, and he has a tremendous voice. He's a strong voice. He's a very talented singer. But more importantly, he has a passion for children and passion for our youth. And he stands out in this community as one who really cares. And Youth Horizons is making a tremendous difference in our community, helping literally hundreds of kids with their situations at home. And as you know, I've had a burden for Judge Riddle Boys Ranch over the years, which is really why I'm here today. If it wasn't for JRBR, I wouldn't be county commissioner. I would not be chairman today to consider what's going on in our community with youth. Fatherlessness is an enormous problem in our community. And Ernest, I think, has taken this on as his passion and his ministry, and through Youth Horizons has made a tremendous difference. I will talk more about the specific programs with Youth Horizons in just a few minutes, but before I do that, I'd like to share a video.
I may not be all that you are. I may not be a shining star.
My mom passed away when I was 12. And since my dad wasn't around as much, it was like I was losing both parents. And then I believe that God doesn't shut a window without opening one. And he took my mom from me because I guess he probably needed her more than I did. And he gave me Ernest. Which
all that you are, I may not be a shining star.
But his passion has always been for kids at risk. I've been to his home in Connecticut. I know where he came from. I know his family. I've been with him really all over the world where he's sang. And his passion has always been to not to make money, but to help people.
Hearing every prayer, thank you, Lord. I choose children to serve. You could serve the elderly. You know, you could develop a ministry to the rich. I mean, everybody has some need that somebody can help with. But for me, children are precious, and they need a voice, they need a strong back, and they need a big heart. And I think I've got all of those. I may not be all that you are.
You know, he didn't have a father, so he understood fatherless kids, and had a passion to help them. He knows what it takes to come out of that environment and be successful, so he wants to pass that on. His primary motivation has been he's felt like this is what God's called him to.
You realize that the hard spots in the road are designed for our benefit. Now that's the truth about life and suffering. Most people spend their energy trying to avoid hard choices. That's why many of the children that we serve are in trouble. They look for the easiest way and they go for it. But you really want to live life at its best, you've got to make the hard choices and take the consequences that come with those, because those things do refine you. All of your love.
Ernest saved my life. I mean, I was doing some pretty horrible things that most of my friends are in jail or dead for. So the only two places I could picture me being is there.
Shining star, but what I am, I thank the Lord for making me his child, so don't use me.
Well, thank you for allowing me to share that video, and I hope you appreciate the message of that video. And yet, once again, we have a tremendous social issue going on in our community with homelessness, and especially fatherless children. I want to just say thank you to Ernest for making a difference on that. I want to just talk about Youth Horizons more specifically for just a few minutes. And when I was a young person, probably in my early 20s, I remember visiting a place called the Dandelion out on East Douglas. This is a building at 1601 East Douglas, and today that building is still there. The name on the building has changed to Youth Horizons. Back in the day, this was a coffee house for young people, an outreach ministry to the homeless, and a place for Christian concerts and movies. And I remember going to the Dandelion and watching movies late at night as a place just to hang out. It was called the Christian Community Services, and in 1986 this ministry was taken over by Jeff Wenzel and Ernest Alexander. 3 years later, Ernest and Jeff changed the name to Youth Horizons. I think that was in 1989, if I have that date right. The ministry focus has changed from providing mentors, has changed to providing mentors for at-risk children in the community. Throughout the years, the work of Youth Horizons has grown. Ernest and Jeff recognized there was a need for a group home where boys who are unable to be raised at home could live. In April 1996, a building called the Martin House was opened, and full-time residential care was added to Youth Horizons programs. In 2005, a relationship was developed with Christian Association of Youth Mentoring, or CYAM. Youth Horizons was one of the founding members of this association that is committed to training and developing Christian mentoring programs across the United States. A generous gift was given to Youth Horizons in 2006 to purchase a property on the outskirts of town and began developing a new group home called the Kinloch Price Boys Ranch. Youth Horizons has experienced tremendous growth in its relationship to the community, local churches, kids, and families. About that Boys Ranch, this is a residential program that provides care for boys with severe individual and family challenges. In cases where living at home or in a foster home has been unsuccessful, I missed a page here. Here we go. I apologize for that. Youth Horizons is equipped to help those boys. Located on the outskirts of Wichita on North Woodlawn, the ranch serves boys ages 10 to 18. They have 4 family-style group homes, fully operational, and have the capacity to care for 28 boys. They strive to make living at Kinloch Boys Ranch like living in a normal, healthy home. They apply behavioral principles to teach life skills, and they help youth build appropriate relationships and develop self-discipline. Each boy is taught the skills needed to succeed as an adult member of the community. About the mentoring program, which is the other half of what Youth Horizons does. Youth Horizons mentoring program helps youth to grow to be confident, hopeful citizens. They match children from ages 5 to 14 at startup with positive Christian role model. Mentors commit to spend 2 or 3 hours a week with a child for at least 1 year. And then mentoring, they have a fun time with these kids, doing all kinds of things, life skill building, sports, acting, money management, sometimes spiritual development. And a school-based program, which is a new thing, I believe. They do mentoring in schools, and actually there's a couple of schools that they do this in right now. Woodman Elementary, Brooks Middle School, and then in Newton, a school called Slate Creek Elementary. So that's kind of a little bit about Youth Horizons. They're certainly making a difference. I'd like to recognize a few of the folks from Youth Horizons that are in attendance this morning. Of course, Ernest Alexander, he's sitting right in front of me. He's a rock star. Not literally, because he sings different kind of music, gospel music, but I think of him as a rock star in the fact that he is one of the best people I know, and he deserves our appreciation. His staff that's with him this morning, Tim is here, and I know we had a Christmas party for the kids at a church in Derby, and there was hundreds of kids that came that are being mentored by different people in the Youth Horizons program, and there was a lot of fun and games, carnival-type games. They all got Christmas presents. And I don't know how they got all that done. It was a tremendous effort, and the kids were having a wonderful time. I was able to volunteer there and see what was going on. It was just a tremendous experience, and I think Tim was involved in that. And of course, Jared's a good friend of mine. I've known him for many, many years. I think he was a troublemaker when he was little, but gives him some reason. I think he knows these kids better than most of everybody else because he's kind of like them in some ways. But Jared's a great individual. Dina, I know Dina. She's a tremendous individual as well. And they also brought Haley and Jake, Pam, and Amy. Thank you for all you do for Youth Horizons and for this community. And then there's Glenn Davis, who is represents Heart of Kansas. The Southern Baptist Association is with us this morning as well. And I want to say thank you for all of you for attending here, but most importantly for how you have made a difference in this community through Youth Horizons. It is one of those things that we've not recognized as a community, but we need to. And I just want to say I appreciate you. Ernest, if you'd be willing to come up here for just a minute. Give you this plaque. It's a small memento, just a little bit of recognition that you deserve. I'll say thank you for that. Won't you stand next to me here? Sure. For a picture, here we go. All right. I'd like to invite you to say anything if you'd like to say something this morning.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. I'm just amazed that you would give us this much attention and time, and I have nothing but gratitude to express. Graduating in '79 from Friends University and running around the world, living in nice hotels, eating in great restaurants, and making good money, I still found myself unfulfilled and started praying about some way to use the resources I was generating to do something that had eternal weight to it. And then God started providing kids They just came like flies from different places at different times with different needs, and it was easy to spend the money. Eventually, there were more children than I had money to help. So we started making appeals to this community, and here we are, almost 40 years later. I'm just amazed at how this community has responded and stood with us all of these years. Anytime we've asked for help, people have responded really well. In 2015, we decided to build 2 more houses, and we needed to raise $2 million for that, plus our $1,200,000 budget. So by the end of last year, the spring of 2016, we were successful in raising $3,200,000, and we were able to pay all of our obligations and have our operating budget. This year's budget is about $1,700,000, and presently in the bank there's about $1,300,000 or $400,000. All of that from people in this community and across the country who have a heart for kids. I'm convinced that America's greatest natural resources are youth. And while they don't vote, they don't pay taxes, they don't tithe in churches, they are not America of the future. They are America today. And the sooner we reach them, the brighter our future looks. And so I just say thank you. When we decided to go up to Woodlawn, this committee stood with us. Some of you were here, and you remember there was substantial opposition. People were saying things like, we don't want your kind in our neighborhood. What they were talking about is they didn't want people like me. That's really what they were saying. But you stood with me, and I hope we've made you proud. I'm so grateful for your help, and this is just my chance to publicly say thank you to all of you, and especially you. Much obliged.
We love you, buddy. Youth Horizon staff to all stand. I want to give you also a hand of applause, please. You all deserve it very much. Let me hand this to you, and I'm going to head back to the bench here. But once again, God bless you, and thank you for all you do.
Much obliged.
At this point, I'll make a motion that we receive and file all these comments, and I want to say thank you and congratulations to Ernest Alexander and Youth Horizons. Ernest, remember, he's met a lot of people, but I first met and heard Ernest way back in the early 80s when I was involved in Teens for Christ in high school. So he certainly has impacted a lot of lives in this community. I appreciate everything that you've done and will continue to do, and all the staff and everything. Thank you very much.
Second the motion.
All right. Well, Commissioners, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion before we vote? All right. Thank you. Madam Clerk, please call the vote.
Commissioner Unruh?
Aye.
Commissioner O'Donnell?
Aye.
Commissioner Dennis?
Aye.
Commissioner Ransaw?
Aye.
Chairman Howe?
Aye. All right. Thank you very much.